Welcome to Saturday Morning Serial. This is where going to be the Black Widow movie review. We are going to be doing spoilers, and I think Martez's microphone is out, and he's going to be back in three, two, one. Let him try again. Three, two, one. There he goes. All right, now he
I
is
just did
back.
it myself this time because the intro don't like me.
I don't understand why the intro is doing that, but yeah. So we are reviewing the Black Widow movie. Oh, and he's out again.
You can hear me still.
There you go. So yeah, like I said, we're reviewing the Black Widow movie. We're gonna are gonna have spoilers. So I mean, it's been out since Thursday in the movies and since yesterday. So letting you know right now, if you haven't watched the movie, get out and bigger spoiler in it. She dies anyway, so it doesn't matter. She doesn't. I mean, not in this movie, but she dies. Period. So yeah. Anyway,
And I'm not gonna lie, like that. Even though we know that the character doesn't make it after this, I still have suspense because of the fact that we're watching shows and stuff with multiverse theories and everything like that. So I'm like, well, damn, what if she did die back then? And the net that we saw wasn't even actually her. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it still has suspense, you know, because it's like, damn, what if it was her sister or something? You know, but we'll
right.
get into that too.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it could. What if they tricked me? They tricked me in the middle of the movie. Like, you know what I mean? It's just with their trickery. So, and the way that their misdirections. My bad. They're misdirections. So, but anyway, so I'm not gonna do a whole full rundown of it. I just want to go start off where we started. I mean, we started off with Natasha in the past. It was 85, no 95, and they were in Ohio with a family. Random. I'm like, whoa. She was actually in Ohio first. But
Shout out
come.
to Mila Jovovich Jr. by the way,
Oh, oh yeah, yeah.
because
It
she's not
was
her daughter; she's her clone, bro.
clone, right?
Just
Yeah, the
saying.
little girl she had played Natasha. She did a pretty good job. And she did look just like Mila Djokovic. Um, there was we started off there and they had a little scene with her and her sister where her sister fell and on her knee, and which was a major point for that we found out that was a piece of advice that Natasha kept with her for all of her life, which was she told her sister, you know, pain only makes you stronger. You know what I mean? So don't cry about it. Just get up and keep walking. And which, like I said, it was a very important part to Natasha because later on in the movie we found out that that stuck with her and that kept her alive this whole time after she got out of um, the place that where she was given to. So um, now we found out that the father, which was Red Guardian, had stole something from Shield, and they were on the run from Shield, and they ended up stealing a piece of technology what helped um, the mind control for the ladies that were in the Red Room, which was ran by and which the stuff was given to a guy named Rovanov, which um, he was the leader of the Red Room, which basically took girls that were displaced and repurposed them for his means, which basically he planted them across the world so he can try to control it the best way that he can. So, basically, he hired all these girls or made these girls basically be the perfect assassins. And this is where um, we found out that the father, or which aka Alexei, the father, quote unquote, of Black Widow and her sister, ended up giving um, Natasha and her sister to Rovanov. So because they were the perfect candidates. They were displaced themselves. They were both displaced, and they were given to Alexei and their mother for so they can groom them and try to make them the best that they can be until they were given over to Romanov. What did you think about that when you saw that?
It it's sad, man. You know, but it was the thing that kind of was the first betrayal. Essentially, like
Yeah.
it was the first betrayal of their life to kind of make them feel the way that they feel, and not trust anybody
Hmm.
because they, for lack of a better word, mom and dad was the first people to betray them.
Right.
So it kind of built character for both of them as to why they only take stuff at face value
Hmm.
and are always ready to run, always have something in their back pocket. And
Hmm.
it was a good character building moment. It's sad because they was kids, but
Right.
Dreykov is a terrible human being,
Yeah.
and they handed their kids, for lack of a better definition, over to this horrible human being, one of
Hmm.
which knows for a fact what he does because she was a part of the program too, Melena.
Hmm.
But uh sad shit, man.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. By the way, I wanted to, for people who don't know who Red Guardian is, aka Alexei, he joined. He was the guy in the big red suit, which also played the father. He was played by the guy from what's his name from Stranger Things. What was that guy's name? Uh,
he talking about David Harbour,
yeah, David Harbour. Right. He's played by David
aka
Harbour. Um,
aka Hellboy.
Yes, he was also played Hellboy too. In the newer Hellboy, Red Guardian. He joined the Soviet Armed Forces and he was subjected to their super soldier program, becoming the Red Guardian. He was a super soldier comparable to Steve Rogers. He also acted as a geopolitical counterpart to Captain America in the political wars, quote unquote, Captain America versus Russia during the Cold War. He has also deployed on numerous missions and won acclaim for the Soviet public, gaining legions of fans who remained loyal to him for decades, having action figures in his likeness. And during his military career, he encountered Dreykov and becoming his friend and right hand man in the process. So that's why we saw him giving him the mind control disc that he stole from Shield because he was his right hand man. But Dreykov decided to put him in jail afterwards because he saw him too much as a threat. So after we go into the future and saw a little bit what they went through the beginning credits, we saw Natasha was on the run from the U.S. government because this is where they had left off after Civil War when she was running because of the disagreement of the Sokovia Accords.
The dumbass Accords.
Yeah. So she was on the run, trying to run away from them. She ended up meeting up with her friend. I don't know who that guy name is, but he basically gave everything that she needed to change her identity.
His name is Mason, and I don't
Mesa,
remember him being like. I think he's just a character that they made for the show because I don't remember him in the comics like that. But he's just one of those shady people who can get you shit.
right? Yeah, yeah. And so basically he works behind the scenes and just basically one of the middlemen. Now, one big thing about this movie
Wait a
too is
minute, I'm
go
lying.
ahead.
Yes, he is. My bad. I had to
Oh,
think about it. If I think they basing him on a character from the comics named Rick. I think his last name was Mason. Rick Mason. He was an agent. Yeah, I think that's probably who. Well, anyway,
oh
same
okay,
thing. Is this dude named Rick Mason? You give him enough time and a cup of bread, he gets you whatever you need to get you together. So
right, yeah. So we end up. Well, one thing I was about to say about this movie is this movie gave me a lot of, and it gave me superhero vibes, yes, but it gave me like like a 007 or a Born Identity type feel,
good.
right? Yeah, and so where it was like, yeah, it's a Black Widow movie, but it kind of was like its own standalone movie with a couple of superheroes, and but yeah, that's what made it gave me mainly because when we got into Black Widow's sister, Yelena, she finally showed herself, and when she did show herself, it was basically some great hand to hand combat, and she was actually still under the mind control of the Red Room or of Dreykov, and she was going after this other um, lady. Now I don't know exactly what her name was, but
Let me see if I can
um,
find out because she was a former agent. Uh,
yeah,
her name was Oksana.
Yeah, Oksana. Yeah, she was a, but she was a defected agent, another defected agent like um, um, Black Widow was, and she ended up having this cure or the serum to counteract the mind control um, stuff that they did in the Red Room. So she ended up hitting um, Yelena with the cure, and then Yelena woke up from whatever she was, whatever mind control or the mind control that she was under, and she was like, "Okay, what have I done?" She was like, "Look, only thing, don't worry about what you did. Just go save the other girls." Right. So now Yelena is on the run and end up sending the cure to Black Widow or Natasha, and she ended up sending it to Budapest, which is one of the it's a running joke in the Marvel cinematic universe, but they ended up telling us the story and what was the real reason and what happened in Budapest. Now they didn't actually show all of it, but they did show some of it. Well, first Yelena ended up. Oh no, no wait, yeah, and Yelena ended up sending the serum to Black Widow. Black Widow didn't know about it. It was basically in a package with when she got to her little hideout place, and it was mailed to her. And um, Black Widow ended up driving away because she needed some more fuel to go into her generator, and she ends up getting attacked by Taskmaster, and Taskmaster is after that serum. Um, and he wants that serum to take it back to the Red Room because it's dangerous to Dreykov. And him and Black Widow end up fighting each other, and this is where she realizes that she has met her match because Taskmaster, if you didn't know, he can figure out or and watch every move that you do, and that's all he does is watches, and then he starts mimicking and also guessing every move that you do.
And that's comic accurate too. Like that's what
Mm-hmm.
Taskmaster do. He don't Taskmaster don't fuck around. Like he's a
Mm-hmm.
serious threat, especially when it comes to
Mm-hmm.
hand to hand. If you're a hand to hand hero, with the exception of two I can think of, he can really give you a run for your money. You know.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, he's dangerous,
Yeah.
super dangerous.
Yeah. So he ends up getting the best of Black Widow. Black Widow has to escape, because she is a great fighter and she is a great shooter. But the thing is that when she knows she has to get out of there, she gets out of there. So she ends up taking the serum and jumping. Or she gets knocked into the lake actually, and she ends up swimming away. Taskmaster thought he got the serum, but he didn't. So now that's unfinished business for Taskmaster. She Scarlett. I'll keep wanting to call her Scarlett Johansson, but Black Widow ends up finding a picture that her and her sister took when they were a long time ago, and on the back of it, it said, "Did it say Budapest?" Right? Oh, no, no, it just had the picture on it. And then so she ended up going back to Budapest. It was like, all right, I gotta go figure out what this is about. She ends up going to see her sister Yelena. They have a little fight just because they don't know if they could trust each other. They don't know if she's still under mind control. So they end up fighting each other. Black
Beating
Widow
the dog
almost,
shit out of each other.
yeah, Black Widow almost chokes her to death. She ended up yielding, and they ended up having a conversation about Dreykov. And she's like, "Look, Dreykov is not dead. You thought he was dead,"
You
but
thought.
she was like, "No, we ended up almost blasting the whole city to get rid of him." And this is the story of Budapest that we didn't hear about. So in Budapest, which they were at now, Dreykov was in an office with his daughter, and um, what's his name? Why do I always forget his name? The not Nighthawk. What is his
Oh,
name?
Hawkeye.
Hawkeye. Yeah. Hawkeye ends up getting a whole bunch of explosives to help her defeat Dreykov so she can defect from Shield, um, and so she could finally be free. They end up blowing it up, but she didn't check to see if he was actually dead, right? And that was what her sister asked, like, did you see the body? Did you confirm it? Like, you're better than this. And she was like, there wasn't no body to check. Well, obviously he's not dead, right? So we got the story of Budapest, and we figured out that Dreykov wasn't dead, and she didn't. This is one of the first times, and this is one of the first times she had brought up but she didn't bring up about the red being in her ledger. And I think the red in her ledger was, or at least a piece of the red that was in her ledger was that Dracov's daughter was caught in the middle of of uh, of her assassinating Dracov. That means she had to sacrifice the daughter just to kill Dracov. So, which is crazy within itself. Because if you remember, and I know, and we'll get into this debate later about Shield not being a part, Agents of Shield not being a part. But if you remember Agents of Shield, and May had the red in her ledger when she killed the Inhuman, just so she could save everybody else. It's
Hmm.
kind of similar, right? But there's just that that the little girl was actually a threat instead of the father.
Yeah, it's very similar. I think that was a theme that they were trying to keep for agents, showing like, yeah, this is what makes good agents. These are the kind of things that they had to combat. Blase
Mm-hmm.
Splee. But
Mm-hmm.
May having to kill that girl who was actually an active threat and
Mm-hmm.
controlling everybody versus Nat saying, "Well, sorry, sis.
Right. Right.
I
Right.
see you in that window, but hey, your daddy is a
Mm-hmm.
piece of shit and he gotta go."
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's I understand why Nat feels like a horrible human being. So
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So they ended up being attacked while they was having this conversation by the Red Room ladies. Do they have a full name? Do
yeah,
they
they're
have
widows. It's just
the widows?
they're
Yeah.
all widows. It's
Yeah.
just since Nat's arguably the best, we call her the Black Widow, but they're all
Mm-hmm.
widows. They just
Right.
consider widows.
Right. Okay. So yeah. So we end up seeing they end up going into the fight, getting into the fight. Actually, Black Widow tried to save one of them, but she witnessed um, Drakov actually saying, "Hey, you got to sacrifice yourself here. Like you're weak, you can't move anymore, so you just got to kill yourself." And she was as she was about to kill herself, she was like, "I don't want to do this, but he's making me do it." And Widow wanted to try to save her, but it didn't work. She ended up killing herself.
Yep.
So, and her sister came down and found her. I was like, "Hey, do you believe me yet?" You know what I mean? Like now you know that he's still alive because he's still controlling these girls. So at the end of the day, Dracoff is still alive. So now they have to figure out how they're going to get rid of him. Um, so after they talked about it a little bit, talked about their past and stuff like that. They figured out like the best way to find a Red Room is to get the Red Guardian, right? And this is where we found out the Red Guardian was in jail, and he had one of the biggest, I don't say lies, but he had the biggest stories of the movie is like him actually defeating Captain America, which was probably a little bit of fib there, but it's because Captain America only really lost to one person. Now it's the Black Panther, but yeah. So and Thanos. I mean, yeah, he thought he lost to Thanos too, but he ended up getting
Everybody
back
lost to
in.
Thanos.
Yeah. But so they ended up in the coolest way ever. While Avalanche was going down, they ended up getting Red Guardian out of there, and um, it just showed the pure badassness of Black Widow. I mean, you're holding on to a helicopter flying in to grab the Red Guardian to get him out of there in the middle of the avalanche. I mean, that was if that wasn't video gamey, then
It
I
was.
don't know what is.
It, it was a lot of scenes during that jailbreak too that
Mm-hmm,
is subtle, but
mm-hmm,
they told a big story. Like it shows how strong he is because he's getting a tattoo of Captain America on his back
mm-hmm,
while he's arm wrestling anybody who arm wrestle him. And
mm-hmm,
he's literally destroying these guys. Then this
mm-hmm,
huge dude comes up and he literally breaks his wrist
mm-hmm,
arm
mm-hmm. Yeah,
wrestling
just
him
breaks his
because
wrist. Yep.
he was like, "You never fought Captain America." He's like, "Oh, I didn't," and he breaks his fucking wrist.
Mm-hmm,
So it shows, yeah, this guy's a super soldier. He's strong as hell.
mm-hmm,
But then it
mm-hmm.
shows very subtly that he's not as good as Captain America because during the escape, he's jumping around trying to climb stuff and he gets tased and he
Right.
fucking falls.
Yes.
Steve
Yeah.
fought an elevator full of guys and was getting tased the whole fight and it didn't matter at all.
Mm-hmm,
He's like, "Oh, you
mm-hmm.
tasing me? Get the fuck off me!"
Right.
Red
No,
Guardian get tased, he fall. it's
Also, Steve
subtle.
Rogers had only like a 0.5% of body fat at the time too, and
And
I
that's
heard
another thing. He
and I
completely out of
heard
shape.
that right, and I heard that when you get tased, you have body fat, like it spreads even quicker.
That
So
must be what it
yeah,
was.
yeah, that's probably what it was.
So, but and then it's a lot of character development in every scene too. Like even in that
Hmm.
scene, you see that Yelena, she is a good assassin, just like her sister,
Hmm.
but she's still younger. So she's kind of
Hmm.
asshole. She's like, okay, I'm
Yeah,
tired of these dudes shooting at me, and she shoots a
yeah,
rocket over and blows the tower up. That's what causes the damn avalanche. She's like,
avalanche.
oh,
Yeah,
okay, damn, my bad, and we
right,
probably should leave.
right. But that's a lot of Yelena too, because if we go back to the parts where she was driving in the with Black Widow in the car, she was bragging about her vest, and if you look at her, she was really just looking for approval, right? She was
Yeah,
like, "Yeah, I want approval from my older sister about this vest," and she was like, "Yeah, it's a cool vest, ain't it? Like, yeah,
yeah, yeah. This
it's
vest is
really cool,
it got
right?
pockets. Yeah,
Yes,
pockets, bro. I got over the
right,
pockets. I love this damn
yeah,
vest. And I
mm-hmm,
thought that was super cool that they took something that small and tied it in
mm-hmm,
to the character because it really is the same damn vest that she had on.
yes, yeah,
So
mm-hmm.
that's pretty cool that they did that, you know. But
Hmm.
Florence Pugh stole this movie for me.
Yes. Yeah.
Like every scene she was in was her scene to me.
Mhm.
So,
Mhm.
and that's incredible considering she was on the screen with some heavy hitters. You know, you got
Mhm.
Scarlett, of course, and then
Mhm.
you know you got David, you got
Mhm.
Rachel Wise. You know,
Mhm.
so
Rachel Weisz played the mother, right? Yeah, she played the
yeah,
mother.
so
So Iron
which
Maiden, by the way. Yeah.
Iron
Yeah.
Maiden, which
But
is the
yeah.
next step in the next step in the story after they go to the
Yeah.
prison. He tell him he was
Yeah.
like, I don't know nothing, man. I don't know
Right.
where he at. He threw my ass in jail. You know,
Right.
I'm just sitting
Mhm.
here. So if you want to know, you gotta ask your mama.
Yep. Who
And
was the Iron Maiden, which
they
is
was like,
number 2 to Dreykov.
I thought my mama was dead. And then no,
Mhm.
she ain't dead. She working
Mhm.
right now. She still work for the Red Room. I'll take
Mhm.
you to go see her. So that's another
Mhm.
revolution that neither one of them knew. They like, damn. Every time we think we know everything, something else come up.
Mhm.
And she been working with these pigs.
Mhm. Yeah, she was working in the mind control or perfecting the mind control with the pigs. Yeah.
And it's depending on the depending on where you stand with like Peter levels of stuff, that scene's either really funny or it's really
Mhm.
fucked up.
Right.
So, you know, they as soon as she sees him, she immediately just you can see in her face, okay, this is about to be a conversation.
Mhm.
She take her
Mhm.
gun down, she just start walking toward the house. They come in and then they have a family reunion,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. A family dinner
family
and
dinner.
family reunion. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And they really end up getting into the family quote unquote dynamics where okay, a couple of them wanted to deny that they were a family or just say hey it didn't exist. But it really, especially Black Widow, because she was like, look, you guys gave us up. It is what it is. Let's just be real. But Yelena was like, no, this is what I knew. Now that we're all together, I want us to at least act like they were a family. And Yelena was drinking at the time, so she was extra emotional. But she ended up leaving the table because she was like, "No, this is real to me. I want this to be real." Period. Ended up leaving the table, going to the other room. The father or Red Guardian ended up going into the other room with her and ended up having a conversation with her. But she didn't want to talk. Um, it's left Black Widow and the mom or Iron Maiden out there, and they actually had a big conversation to each other about, look, you know, Black Widow was like, "Why are you doing all of this? You can't see that what he's doing to these girls. You know what I mean? What he's trying to do." And the Black Widow ended up talking her down and making stuff real for her. But next thing you know, Iron Maiden told her, she was like, "Look, I'm sorry, but I already called them to come and get you guys. This was just a stall, right? So here comes the widows, right? And the widows is coming after them, um, and they ended up capturing all of them and taking them back to the Red Room. And this is where he found out what a Red Room is. The Red Room is not an actual room. I mean, it could be, but it's actual spaceship. right? But the spaceship that is in mid orbit, right, is not even like orbiting around the world. It's just in between clouds, which I don't understand how Shield didn't find that.
I mean,
I don't understand how Shield didn't find that. That is only way that I think that they probably didn't is because he didn't do anything
because they
up
wasn't
there.
looking for it. Like
Yeah,
that's the thing, man. It's easy to hide in plain sight if ain't nobody looking for you. You
yeah,
know,
yeah.
they thought they probably was under the same impression because Nat, they
Mm-hmm,
best agent,
mm-hmm,
defected to them on the strength of the fact that he was dead. Like, yeah,
mm-hmm,
we're gonna go on this mission. We kill him. I'm an agent of Shield now. They probably was like, oh, okay, well, you killed him. You
mm-hmm,
you don't know what a non-confirmed kill is, so
mm-hmm,
they
mm-hmm,
probably didn't even think to look for him. And I think that is the strength of Dreykov's whole organization is being
mm-hmm,
able to hide because
mm-hmm,
I they took girls from the entire world, every
mm-hmm,
country,
mm-hmm,
including Africa, which
mm-hmm,
is something I'm gonna touch on in a minute. But
mm-hmm,
so I think he just was cold like that at hiding because
mm-hmm.
she couldn't find, she didn't even know he was alive,
Right.
and that intel is top tier. I think
Mm-hmm.
Shield just didn't know. They was like, "Oh yeah, I thought you killed him, when you first joined us." So I
Right.
think that's why they was able to hide. And plus, if that thing is up in the sky and it's constantly moving, even if it's only moving a click west every few hours, it's never in
Mm-hmm.
the same location. You can't order
Mm-hmm.
like an orbital strike or no missile strike to a place that's constantly moving because you got coordinates changing constantly.
Mm-hmm.
My man
Mm-hmm.
just was the coldest at that shit, and
Mm-hmm.
uh, it was kind of it was close to being cliche,
Mm-hmm.
but it was such a well hidden surprise that
Mm-hmm.
it works. At least it
Mm-hmm.
wasn't
Mm-hmm.
underground.
Right. Yeah. 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 Could have been underground. Could have been a portal in the sky too. But anyway, they. I digress. But so we find out that they end up getting locked up. And Dreykov has called the Iron Maiden into his office and was like, "Hey, we're gonna get rid of old girl. We're gonna get rid of the daughter. Actually, sorry, we're not gonna get rid of Yelena. We're actually going to mind control her. We're gonna open up her brain and figure out weakness, take it out, right? And we're also going to put Black Widow into my custody, and because I really want an Avenger on my team, and how powerful I look if there's an Avenger on my team." So then the big plot twist, or not plot twist, big twist that we didn't see coming, because I didn't see it coming. I don't know if you saw it coming, Martez, but the Iron Maiden was really Black Widow the whole time with a face with the face thing on. The face thing that changes the face looks. The thing that she did in Captain America, Winter Soldier. Yeah, that thing. Also in Agents of Shield that was used 100 times, and nobody saw it coming. So he ended up pressing the button that took the thing off of her and saw that it was Black Widow and Iron Man in his place. They switched spots. So the Black Widow, quote unquote, that was locked up was Iron Maiden with Black Widow's costume on. So she was down. She was down there next to the Red Guardian, and then they ended up talking and getting out because she built the prison. So Iron Maiden built the prison, so she ended up getting them out. And Black Widow was up with Dreykov, and was like, "Hey, it's time for you to die. I'm here to kill you." And Taskmaster's looking at him like, "Hey, I'm here too." Right? She was in there. He was in there when I'm here too. You just gonna disrespect me like this? Like
Hey, what
I
you
can
what
stop you. Right? What you gonna do?
what
And
you
then
want me
she
to
was
do?
like,
Like,
hold on. He was like, hold on, wait, Taskmaster, get out of here. There's some trouble downstairs. And the Black Widow's like, oh, what about me? Like, I'm here. I thought he was your only defense. He was like, nah, nah, nah. I got something for you. Try to shoot me. Okay. I can't shoot him. I can't shoot him. Try to stab me. I was like, I can't stab you. What's going on? I have these pheromones that if you smell me, you resist hurting me. And she was like, Oh no, what am I going to do? I am so vulnerable now. There's nothing else that I can do. So now he is telling her his plan. Look at this big screen that I got. And I got all these Black Widows everywhere around the world. And guess what? At a click of a button, I can have them crash the stock market. I can
Hmm.
have them assassinate presidents. I can have them do anything I want. I've had all these power in my hands for this whole time. And guess what? I'm doing nothing with it. I just like having the power,
Like
right?
having it.
He
And
just
look, you
likes
see my
having it.
ring? I slide my ring
Yes.
across this, and that's how I control the thing.
That's how I
You know.
control the thing.
Oh, and not to mention, don't forget because he revealed to her before he sent Taskmaster off. Oh yeah, remember you thought you killed my daughter? No,
Oh
this
yeah,
her.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, this her.
This
I
her right
wanted
here.
I wanted to reveal that, because I wanted to wait to reveal that because a lot of people did not expect that Taskmaster was going to be played by a woman. Now, before I get into that, well, no, let's get into that now. Okay, so what did you think about the Taskmaster being a woman? I know that it's going to make a lot of people mad, but at the same time, anybody can play Taskmaster at this point,
It's just a
right?
character, like the fact that the character abilities and badassery is there. That's what matters to me in the sense of a character. Had they made Taskmaster a woman for no reason, just because, oh, this is just another one of my widows, then I'm like, well, what the fuck was that for? You know. But
Mm-hmm,
because it's the daughter
mm-hmm,
that she thought she killed and she
mm-hmm,
thought was the red in her ledger, that makes
mm-hmm,
it poignant. It makes it
mm-hmm,
matter. So I was
mm-hmm,
cool with it. Like, oh, okay,
mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
now it's cool. You know, now it makes sense. So I was cool with it because of who it was. You know, and it
mm-hmm,
shows how much of a monster that Dreg Drekov is, that he would even
mm-hmm,
turn his daughter into an assassin just like the rest of them. So I was
mm-hmm.
cool with it. You know, it actually caught me by surprise because normally
It did
that's
caught
the
me
thing.
by surprise too. I agree with you. I was wondering why they would never show the face or anything like that. I didn't think they were actually going to show the face, but I
I
didn't think it was
almost
going to
thought
be his
that
daughter.
I almost thought that he was like an android.
Mm.
You know,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
not like
yeah.
like sort of like a cyborg more or less, like he was mechanically, like this. I'm scanning you. I'm gonna kick your ass.
Right,
You know,
right,
but
right.
then when you find out it's her, it's like, oh, that's messed
The
up.
thing, the thing is though, this is subtly giving me old Marvel vibes, right? To where, yeah, they'll put in a villain for fan service, but they won't tell the story correctly on purpose, right? Like everybody knows that in the comic books, Taskmaster wasn't a female. Everybody knows that Taskmaster actually talked. Everybody knows that Taskmaster was a real badass. I think that this isn't the true Taskmaster. This is just an introduction of one until they figure out exactly who they're actually going to bring as Taskmaster.
That's interesting
Right?
and possible too,
Yeah.
because uh, it could be what they call it, a Mary Sue,
Mm-hmm.
or a
Mm-hmm.
little diversion. That would be
Mm-hmm.
interesting.
Yeah.
You think so? They thinking they pulling a Mandarin with it
Yes, exactly. They're pulling a Mandarin with it and making it to say, okay, we got a Taskmaster, but the true Taskmaster is not coming until later. So, yeah. Um, so yeah, we found that reveal of hopefully too many people aren't mad at it and can look past it and be like, okay, I mean, this is here for right now. But when we act, because there's a lot of people that are really Taskmaster fans, right? They really saw this movie for Taskmaster,
because he a
right?
boss, bro. Like
Yeah.
people, a
Hmm.
lot of people don't realize how cold he really is. Like
Hmm.
in the grand Marvel landscape.
Yeah. Yeah.
But he
Right.
done went
So
hand to hand with the greats.
right. So after that reveal, then he went more into the story of, where the Black Widows are and all of that. He basically told everything. And guess what? Black Widow pulled what she pulled on Loki, did exactly the same thing where she acted like she was vulnerable and made him tell everything. He actually went and hit her. Like he punched her a couple times and was like, I'm in power here. But she acted like she was vulnerable, turned around and said, "Thank you for your cooperation." He was like, "What?" He was like, "Yeah, you." She was like, "You basically told me everything." He was like, "But you can't do anything about it." Oh, yes, it is. So what she did is she severed her nose to where she couldn't smell anymore, and she basically banged her head on the desk and broke her nose. She couldn't smell anymore, and then whooped his ass.
Yeah, because she even said it's funny too because she was like, I was hoping that you would have a little something, a little stank on what you was throwing at me, that you would do this for me.
Mhm.
But since you too
Right.
much of a bitch, I got to do this myself.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
cracked her
Yep.
shit. I
Yep.
was like, that's the net I know and love right
Yep.
there.
Yep.
That's
Yep. And
that's it.
she broke her crooked nose that she already had, and then she ended up whooping his butt, and then he ended up getting away because most of the widows came up to go fight her. Um, Meanwhile, while all this was happening, they were trying to land the build or the ship, and but she was who was it? Iron Maiden was unsuccessful by doing that. So she ended up dropping a gun into. Did she drop the gun? No.
She
She
dropped
shot
her widow
the
stick.
ceiling. Yeah, she shot the ceiling, and the ceiling ended up going into the ground or into the fans, and the ship started blowing up. So it was as it was going down, everybody was fighting and everything. It was Yelena's job to get up and save all the widows to cure them all. So as Black Widow was fighting the other widows, she ended up coming in and putting a grenade on the cure and blowing the grenade in front of all the widows and ended up freeing all the widows that was there. And they were like, "Okay, what do we do now?" They was like, "Well, we got to get out of here. So let's all get out of here." Um, so meanwhile, they were everybody was trying to get off the ship. Um, Dracoff was like, "Hey, I got to get out of here too." So he ended up getting with some of his guys getting on the ship. Elena saw that what he was doing. She got her widow stick and was like, "Y'all ain't going nowhere," and she ended up putting it into the the ship to where they were flying off, and that basically started a chain reaction to where the whole thing blew up. Dreykov's glasses flew off, and he blew up, quote unquote. And Yelena ended up falling off the falling off of the ship. And this is one of the dopest parts of the movie. Black Widow came with the parachute and dove through everything to make sure that she grabbed her and pulled the parachute. Then Taskmaster came and was like, "Hey, we ain't done yet." And they ended up flying and fighting all the way down to the bottom of the ground and stuff like that. And then Black Widow ends up getting a cure and taking the mask off, getting the cure, and um, and blowing the cure up in her face, in Taskmaster's face, which stopped him from fighting. And Taskmaster was like, "Is he gone?" Meaning her father. And she said yes. So, and that's basically the movie. The end, and basically it was just a big family moment after that. They took the widows somewhere else so they can go train them because they're a family now. So Red Guardian and Iron Maiden and the sister Yelena end up leaving because the U.S. was still. Oh yeah, by the way, the U.S. was called to come arrest Dracoff, but Dracoff was dead, so they ended up coming back after Black Widow. Then Black Widow, I don't know what happened after that. If she fought him off, but she basically, you showed up later with her hair being blonde, the way that she was looking in the Avengers Infinity War, and then she ended up meeting up with old dude again that gave her the passports and everything to give her the ship that she saved. Um, um, that she actually used to go break them out of jail, which was with Captain America, Falcon, Ant Man. She broke them out of jail, and that was the same ship that they used to get away in Infinity War after they saved Vision and and
Wanda.
Scarlet Witch. Yeah, Wanda. So that's where they ended that there. And there was an after credit scene, which was pretty much interesting. It was basically after Endgame, and your girl shows up next to Black Widow's tombstone, and
Valentina
Yelena there.
Contessa.
Yes, Valentina Contessa shows up next to Yelena. Was like, "Hey, this is sad, and my allergies are messed up." She acted like she was crying, and she was like, "I got a job for you. Like, do you want to kill the guy who killed your sister?" And they ended up on an iPad showing a picture of your boy. Um, well, I always forget his name.
Okay.
Hawkeye. Yes,
Technically Ronan
yes,
at this point.
yeah. Oh yeah, technically Ronin, but Hawkeye. Um, and basically, she looked at it, was like, and then that was pretty much it. So, which is implying, I guess, that she's either going to be in the show, right, or she's going
Or
to
she's
be in
gonna
that
have her
show,
own show possibly,
or
but
she's going to have her own show. Yeah,
I think she's gonna either show up in the Hawkeye show or she's gonna be part of that whole recruiting thing, possible Thunderbolts.
yeah, Thunderbolts, right? So, anything else before we give ratings and stuff, and what you thought of the movie?
It was dope.
It's dope.
Uh, no other thoughts on it outside of what we're about to talk about, except for
Yeah,
because we're gonna get into theories and all that momentarily. I gave the movie a solid eight, eight point
eight.
five. Yeah,
Yeah,
it was good, bro. Like
yeah,
you know,
yeah.
the only I would give this movie a 10 if Nat stabbed Drake off in the face. I would have gave it a 10 because I'd have been satisfied. Like, yeah, okay, that's what I'm talking about. This guy needs to suffer because
hmm
we were having a conversation on the ride home from seeing this movie about what he represents, and he very much is representation of the face of like child endangerment, like
hmm hmm Yeah,
kidnapping,
child trafficking. Yeah,
child
child
trafficking,
trafficking. Yeah.
and to see him like really die would have
hmm
made me feel really good, But the
hmm
way he died, even though you see him kind of blow up and you see him get wrapped in the fire, you still got that little bit of doubt in your mind, like, well, yeah, last time he was supposed to blow up too. I hope this motherfucker
hmm
dead. I needed to see like Yelena like yoke his ass
hmm hmm
right in the eye,
hmm
something through the
Right, right,
glasses. Or
right.
his daughter, Taskmaster maybe put an arrow in his eye.
Yeah,
But,
yeah,
other than that, hey, it still was a dope flick.
yeah. I give it an 8.5 out of 10. I just think because my only disappointment with the movie is that it didn't come out in between um, Infinity War and Captain America
Endgame.
Civil War. And
Yeah.
now you have to watch in order for it to really make sense because you know that she dies, right? At the end of Infinity War, it doesn't have as much impact as it should because you're like, okay, well, all this is for nothing. Like she finally found her family. It would have felt worse. Like, god damn, she just found her family and all of this, and now she's dead. She's sacrificing herself, right? So
That's solid.
so yeah, it would have been way more of an impact of a movie. The action was great. I really liked how it was more of a spy movie to me than a superhero movie. It really didn't get to a superhero movie until the ending, but it was really, really a really good movie. Like I said, it reminded me of a Bond flick or a Born Identity flick, right? If you were going to compare it to anything, so it was way over the top. The action was everything. The chase scenes was great. The story was great. I really liked how they tied in the family part um, without overdoing it like they do in Fast Furious movies. But I really like the dynamic of um, Black Widow and Yelena. Like they really treated each other like older and younger sisters. It was I really like that, and how Yelena really wanted her approval. Like she really wanted her approval as a bit older sister, and it's kind of messed up that she couldn't try to live out being a sister with her because Black Widow passed away. So
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So I give it a 8.5 out of 5, and in that scale, I think between 8 and 10s, we call it a well balanced breakfast, right?
Well
So it
balanced
was a
breakfast.
well balanced breakfast,
Yep, I
right?
said well balanced breakfast as well. You
Mm-hmm.
know,
Mm-hmm.
um, it was dope, man. You know,
Mm-hmm.
Marvel has trouble making bad movies, bro.
Mm-hmm.
It's either they make oh, they, okay, this movie's okay, or this movie was
Mm-hmm.
great. It was brilliant. It's like
Mm-hmm.
so. And what I noticed in the media was kind of crazy to me is that a lot of folks in the media, especially irrelevant people, is dogging it out. You know, like I don't know if you heard Stephen Dwarf. I found this out recently. Was talking shit about the movie. I'm like, Deacon Frost.
Right.
If you
Right.
don't knock
Right.
it off,
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
okay.
It's unnecessary hate.
Deacon Frost talking about the movie and talking
Mm-hmm.
about Marvel movies in general. I'm like, well, I mean, the only reason people know your name is because of a Marvel movie. Last time I
Mm-hmm.
checked,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
you was doing little B parts. You was in Alone in the Dark, bro.
Right.
Knock
Right.
it
Right.
off.
Right. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
If you was in anything with Uwe, you can't talk at all, bro. Just knock it
Right.
off. So, um,
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Well, that's the end of the review, and thank you guys for watching. We'll also be putting this on Spotify and everything. But thank you guys. If you guys have any comments about the movie or anything you guys liked about the movie or hated, like it or comment, comment about it below. And like I said, we're gonna be doing all Marvel movies reviews and stuff like that. And we'll maybe switch up with some other movies too. We did the Mortal Kombat before, so but now that the movies are back open, we can actually do a lot more. I think the next review I think we will be doing is Shang-Chi, right? Because we're not reviewing Snake Eyes, are we?
nah.
No. Okay. So next one we're going to do is Shang-Chi, and that's in September. So,
Listen,
yeah.
we'll do Snake Eyes if y'all say y'all want us to do Snake Eyes.
Yeah, 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 yeah. I
But
guess we'll
my
keep it up to
review
you
of it
guys.
right now is it's trash.
Okay. All right, you guys. Thank you guys for watching. Peace out.